Because you always just come in looking like a fool. There's just no way to put it other than you look like an absolute fool. What
Brad,
and a creep.
be nice. Look,
That was the nicest way I could put it, Jeremy.
I've been told that I'm extra good looking.
Bye.
Everybody who's met me.
No, I've never told you that.
Good night.
Good night.
Sure.
All right. Good night, buddy.
You my underwear, Brad.
You
In my underwear.
you and your family manage to embarrass yourselves a new way every week.
How is that embarrassing? My dude's in his underwear and he went to say good night. Look, if he could spend 99% of his time in his underwear, he would.
Well, Jeremy, let's kick this off.
Woo-woo!
Let's kick it off. Welcome to the Briggity Bro Bobs. Hey, Jeremy.
Bradford, hey! What's up, bro?
I don't know why that makes me laugh every time.
What does?
I don't know. Briggity Bro Bobs. And hey, Jeremy.
Hey, Brad. Jeez. I mean, it doesn't take a lot for you, does it, buddy?
Usually just the side of your face.
Well, that does it for a lot of people. I've been told. Like I said, like I can't help it. I've been blessed with extremely good-looking face and features. Just saying. Like I'm surprised that we don't have more subscribers solely because
Let me
of
come
my
back
face.
to the fact that we reiterate every single podcast. This is a podcast. It's an auditory experience when you talk about your features and then point to these said features with your hands. That's a visual experience, Jeremy. This is an auditory exploration of running.
But we also have those subscribers who only watch the YouTube. I'm giving them what they want. The face, my chiseled chin, my rugged good features, my more or less bald head. I haven't shaved my head since last week, so it's looking rather fuzzy, right? My beautiful blue gray eyes. I've been told that it's insane.
You're losing the audience here, Jeremy.
What audience do we have, Brad? It's my mom. She probably flies to Berlin or wherever else that's across the world and just downloads it right there.
Boom.
Make us feel better about ourselves.
Those are podcast downloads anyways, which reemphasizes the fact that this is an auditory experience.
So we're talking. We're giving the audience what they want with that too.
All right.
We're good talkers. We banter. We're banterers. That's a weird word to say.
Jeremy.
It doesn't roll off the tongue very well. Bradford.
Jeremy, I'm back in Ohio.
I can see this, and I'm
back home. I made it.
I'm glad you're back home, and I'm glad you made it. I know it was quite the experience that you had to deal with and contend with, both getting back home and also just being in paradise for the first 10 days that you were there.
Yeah, 12 days, but who's counting? Who's counting?
The people who wanted to come in and take over your condo were counting.
Yeah. So before, typically I've got to direct this entire conversation. So I'm just going to direct it directly at me this time instead of prompting you by asking you a question that then you go, well, what about you, Brad? So I'm just going to kick this off with my last week of training.
Okay, sweet. Hey, Brad, how was your last week of training?
So I feel like I'm rounding the corner. I've hit the lowest of low abysses where I legit thought that I was starting from scratch again.
But Brad, you weren't starting from scratch. You were having, you had a rough week. Why do you think you were starting from scratch? Why do you feel like every run was the worst run?
I imploded on every single run that I did for my last 5 days in Hawaii.
Okay. There could be some reasons for that, Brad.
I get that, but it was just bad. So you know how it is.
I do.
Your fitness is it's a wave.
To wait. So you're
It's
saying
a
that
wave.
because you
A
just came
roller
back.
coaster. You know what? It's a roller coaster.
See, that's so cliche. Let's go back with wave. Let's not be cliche.
Mm.
We've talked about getting away from cliches. It's a wave. You have your peaks, you have your valleys, right? You got the good waves you can surf, and you're just like it's easy peasy. You're surfing them in. You're not doing any work. But then sometimes you've gotta paddle on out, and you gotta fight the current. The riptide is taking you away from where you want to be, and that's running, Brad. That's running.
My God, what did you have for dinner?
I had some chicken, some pasta. So we put some chicken in the pasta, and then we had some corn on the cob to go with it, and it was delightful.
Rhetorical question.
Well, no, it wasn't. You don't ask what did you have for dinner. You don't expect a response. That is false.
So yeah, I'm rounding the corner. I think I'm about in peak shape.
Look, I can see it.
I'm
Your head is glistening.
I'm
Like you just,
rounding into peak shape. I'm down now 19 pounds
that's a
as of
lot.
this morning.
You were
I
not 209.
Yeah, I was. I'll show you my phone.
Well, geez, I'm not down 19 pounds. I'm down 18.
So, congrats, Jeremy.
Hey, thanks, Brett. Hey, look, like I was feeling a little left out. Congrats to you too, buddy. 19 pounds, that's big time.
So is 18 pounds. I'd argue there's next to no difference other than I'm winning.
Well, you are, and you're also, a
My
little bit
fitness is through the
shorter.
roof, and
It
you're,
is, and mine's not. Mine, we talk about these like waves, right?
yep, yep.
You're at the peak, like you're surfing, you're cruising.
I'm
I'm
Chicken
da-
Joe.
what the fuck is a chicken Joe?
Chicken Joe
What is a
from
chicken
Surf's
Joe?
Up.
I don't. I don't. Is
You've
that a
never seen
movie?
Surf's Up?
I have, but I don't like it. Was not. It did not impress upon me anything. It did not take away anything from that movie.
Well, while we're in Maui, pre-emergency and catastrophe, Levi wanted to watch Surf's Up every single night that we were in the condo.
That sounds awesome.
And so Chicken Joe is the chicken that wins the competition at the end of the thing. And he just goes with the flow and rides the waves. He's lying down on the surfboard.
He's just doing it.
That's me right now. Just
I
doing it.
I'm glad. I'm proud for you, and I'm glad for you, Brad. You know, how long have you been working out? How long have you been running?
I think we're at 12 weeks, are we not?
Something like that. Has it been that long? 3 months? It has not been
I'm
3 months.
pretty
There is no
sure.
way. We started
Yes.
in June. June to July to August. It's got to be
So listen, here's our running weeks.
June
1,
to
2,
July.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is week 11. You're on week 10.
I'm on week 10. Well, kind of. Like, can we call a spade and say that I'm back to week like 7?
Mm. Is that where your fitness level is at in Strava?
I think that I'm probably back to. You know what? That's a good question. I should go back. I think I'm back to like a 23, 22.
Oh my God. I'm straight running away from you. Literally
What are you?
and
40,
figuratively.
40 what?
No, I'm at 33 today.
How? I was in the 30s. Was I? I don't even remember.
No.
Doesn't matter. Again, this is an arbitrary number. Like fitness level
It's
and number.
obviously a direct indicator of where we are in a fitness journey because mine's trending up and yours is nosediving.
It's not anymore. It's not anymore. We'll talk about that after you're done talking about your running.
Yeah, well, so finishing up our trip in Maui, just imploded every single run. Tried to do a workout where I just completely bailed on. I ran a total of 2 miles when I was planning on 5. Thought then the next day, well, like, didn't feel good that day. I'll go out and, like, try something. I'm just going to go and, like, run fast, see what happens. Imploded, walked home, like, 40-minute walk home by myself. We went for a long run on Saturday where both Kira and I were going to do an hour and 20 minutes. I made it 40 and was walking because the hill at this point was just too much. I was like, I'm completely redlined. Honestly,
40 minutes of hills is no joke, though.
But it wasn't hills. I mean, it was a total of like 500 feet at that point.
That's a lot considering. Look, Brad, I don't even get that in a year.
I get it, but it wasn't hard. Like I just basically went from normal running to redlined at the same pace in a matter of like about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Then walked up the hill, get a phone call from Kira. She implodes on her long run, and then took Sunday off, Monday off. We're at Wednesday. Started running with my buddy Ken again.
Yeah.
2 great runs.
Look, it's all it takes. Sometimes
2
taking
good runs. Back through the
time
roof.
time off, Brad, is you can't you have to take time off sometimes. And that's what
Yeah.
I've done. I've taken off the last 2 weeks in order to get better. And I'm going to leapfrog you. You know, my fitness level's at like a 23. Tomorrow, if I go for a run, it'll probably spike up to 48 or 49.
I don't think you've trained long enough for the super compensation that we're expecting here, Jeremy.
Look, if we're talking almost 3 months of training, of course I have. Like 3 months of training, that's a lot. Like I feel that I could have been in the best shape of my life if I would have not taken off these past
Holy
2.
moly. Oh my God.
All right, so your running is coming into form, and mine is. I'm back. Like I said, I'm probably back to like week 7.
Well,
And
this story is going to continue in perpetuity for as long as Briggity Bro Bobs is alive, because this is just the way that it works. That it's up, down. You know, you have a bad week, you have a little like trivial injury, and the end of the world is right around the corner. You're starting running from scratch again.
But that's how it feels.
I don't disagree.
So last time we talked, I had run one day. Look, this week I'm going to be at 4 days, and somewhere around, I don't know, what's 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 5. So that's 14 miles. Hey, I'll take that all day, every day. 14 miles in 4 days after coming off of my Achilles still isn't perfect. It's probably in the like 75%, right? So I still am walking around and I can still feel it. It's not perfect. When I'm running, it never really is good. I notice it every step, but it's not to a point where I can't run, and it's not doing any harm that I'm running. But I feel like if I were to try to pick up the pace, it's done. It's over. Like there's nothing. So everything that I'm going to be doing until it feels at least 77% is going to be.
Jeremy, this is going to be you for the remainder of training. Your running form is so aggressive.
What do you mean by form? What are you
your
talking about?
Foot strike is one of the most aggressive foot strikes ever for a distance runner.
How is my foot strike aggressive? What about
You're not even like a midfoot striker. You're just a tippy toe striker.
I don't know. No, it's changed, Brad. I'm a midfoot striker. Like
since when?
I'm not up here like this with my tippy toes just striking the ground. And I'm more
you could run in ballerina slippers.
I could, and that might be beneficial. Maybe I start going toward like the 5 fingers shoes and get some of those bad boys and just go like, born to run. All I need is some protection on my feet, and I'm sure that my Achilles will definitely handle that well.
No.
I think my Achilles will get better too as I get lighter. So I think that it's probably like some kind of like combination of the fact that I do run. I am more midfoot now, but I'm more of a midfoot striker. I mean, I will never hit my heel. Like I'll be 750 miles into a race, and my heel still won't have hit the ground. And I weigh 200.8 pounds. So,
what about running downhill?
No, that's stupid. Why would I hit my heel there? That's just breaking myself. I just jump. I run it downhill.
Oh my God!
I take a massive jump, and I jump and I leap, and I land halfway down, and then I leap again. It's like a sprint. Boop.
Yeah. Okay.
But so I ran 3 miles yesterday, 3 miles today. Taking off tomorrow. Friday, I'm gonna do 3 miles again, and then Saturday off. Sunday 5 is the plan. So, but I feel awful. I feel truly awful, and that part of it is because the weather here has been miserable. But like you said, how in 3 minutes you go red line. The first day I ran back, it felt like it was 95 degrees when I went out, and I felt like I couldn't breathe the whole time. I got a mile and a half in, and by the time I was done with my second mile, I had to stop and walk. Like I felt great, mile and a half in. I was like, this is gonna be okay, and then I had to stop and walk. I was like, and then I finished my 3 miles, and I was bent over, and I was gasping, and I ran 9:43 pace for that last mile, and I couldn't even stand up straight. Somebody actually seriously stopped and said, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Oh."
Oh my God.
Couldn't even answer them. There was a serious look of concern on their face. But I made it. I'm here. I'm good. Today was easier than yesterday was, which was easier than whatever day it was that I ran that awful run. So, have I run 3 times this week? Maybe it was Sunday that I went? I don't know. I haven't looked at my Strava because it's just depressing.
I don't even get to give you kudos on a daily basis.
I know. Look, I can't. Strava is just a reminder of all where I have been and where I am now. Right? It's like looking into the past. You're like, oh, what happened? What happened? So I'll look again when I know that I'm above a 48 on that arbitrary number scale.
That'll be in 12 months from now.
I would
if
hope
you're
that
lucky.
I'm higher than that 12 months.
We'll see.
48, Brad? You said you were at 78 when you ran
for
the
grandmas.
marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't get
So,
within
but you
30
also
points of
dip,
that?
you also dip way down through peaking, and then you get a 12-point jump for running the marathon.
What's peaking? I don't even know
Oh
what
my
that
God.
means.
Another episode, Jeremy.
Another episode, Bradford.
I'm getting a bedtime reminder on my watch here.
Well, I mean, it is after 9 o'clock. My eyes are drooping. I'm glad I had a Jarritos. Is that how you say it? Jarritos?
How was the mango?
Last one. It wasn't mango. I got the mandarin. It was fine.
Mandarin.
It was orange.
You need lemon lime. That's why.
I'll go find it. I'll go. I went to the small Kroger around here. There's a grocery store where I live. It's called Kroger. I'm not sure everybody knows that grocery store, but that's where I got the Jarritos. They only had 2 flavors. They had pineapple, which sounded okay. I didn't know if I wanted 4 of them, and then orange. So I got a 4-pack of orange, and I'll have one a day until they're
Maybe
gone.
that would be the ultimate. We talked about the ultimate, you bring in the Fazoli's breadsticks into Olive Garden with your own Jarritos.
Because Olive Garden doesn't have Jarritos.
No.
I don't know that they would be opposed to that. We could just bring our meal and just set up shop there.
Yeah. Yep.
We could make our pasta, whatever kind we wanted. Let's say I wanted I don't even know what's the bow tie pasta. They don't have it. I'll make it and say, hey, just put some sauce. Give me some sauce. And they're like, sure thing, Mr. Clover. Anything for you? Because I'm such a, I go there so often. I frequent that place pretty regularly, at least 3 times a year.
This is putting me to sleep now.
Well, Brad,
all
look,
right.
I feel like I'm carrying the load, like I'm Atlas
with your gestures.
And I got a big old world on my shoulders. But
let's get into the wide world. I don't know. How about the world of our running shoes?
Running shoes?
Running shoes, Jeremy.
Katie's going to bed. But look, running shoes. That was number 2 on my list.
Let's do it.
This is important stuff.
It's pretty hard to run without running shoes.
I would say, yeah, I agree. Not impossible. It's not
impossible. Is it the most important piece of running apparel?
By far.
Really?
By far. What else would there be? You can run in a t-shirt. You can run in a button-down. I've seen people running in jeans, right? I had a friend whose name was Drew. He decided to cut off 6 pairs of his jeans into little booty shorts and run in them over a whole entire summer. It wasn't comfortable for him the whole entire time, but he did it. But you know what he did not have?
Running shoes.
That's right. He couldn't
Well,
do without.
what do you look for in your running shoes, Jeremy?
First,
For
I look
trainers.
for looks.
I think we need to clarify this is like for
Training.
daily training shoes.
All right. So I'm kind of stuck when it comes to any shoe for that matter because I don't have the traditional foot. I have a couple of things, and the trainer at my school also acknowledged that my high arch doesn't help in the cause either. So not only do I have a wide foot, but I've got a very high arch that's not
which
flexible,
adds volume.
which adds volume, which is not flexible at all. So because I know that I don't flex in, which is called pronation, because I know that I have to have the extra volume, I am obligated to get a wide pair of running shoes.
And
Now
you have no normal pronation because your arch is so high, which makes your foot super rigid.
Yes, and I supinate instead of pronate. Yep.
Right.
So I'm running in neutral shoes. If I were to be put in any kind of stability shoe, like first and foremost, the stability kind of only deals with the back
Heel.
part of your foot, the
Yeah.
heel, which I wouldn't use anyway. But I would be forced even more to the outside than I already am. If you look at all my shoes, every piece of wear.
Would you really though? The most stability trainers have no stability on the front end.
I know. Well, I'm saying
and so it really.
But when I'm walking,
there's almost no penalty to wearing a stability trainer.
For me, there is. I mean, it's added weight. Usually, it's a little heavier of a shoe because the foam is a little heavier. But also, like, you don't just run in your running shoes. You walk to where you're going. So anytime that's happening, I am walking heel to toe. It's gonna break down to the outside more than anything anyway, and I don't need that. But anyway, getting to it. So I've got to find a wide width shoe, and I mean, this might surprise a lot of people, but almost every manufacturer makes a wide width shoe. Nike makes a wide width shoe. New Balance obviously makes a wide width shoe. I think New Balance is known for their wide width.
Yeah, but they make all boring wide shoes.
What are you talking about boring?
They don't make any cool wide shoes.
Who cares about, what do you mean by cool? Like, identify and define cool to me.
I brought down all my daily running shoe rotation.
I didn't do that. But they make plenty of
So
cool.
You're about to see cool, Jeremy. You're about to see cool.
I thought, wait, Brad, hold on. I thought this was a podcast.
I'm going to talk about it.
Anyway, they're not going to be able to see it.
They're going to hear my finger running across the fabric. Like, what is that, ASMR or something?
Yeah, that's it. But so I first and foremost, I have to find a wide shoe. 2E width works fine. 4E width works fine. It doesn't really matter. Some shoes are wider than others. So I look for that, and I look for a neutral shoe. And I am pretty stuck. Like you said, my shoes are boring. Most manufacturers only make one color in their wide widths because they're not going to sell nearly as many of them. So I'm usually stuck with a black shoe. Usually.
So do you like soft, like firm?
No, I don't like super soft. So, training shoes, they differ. I really don't mind a very firm shoe, although I prefer something in the middle of the two, right? So something somewhat firm, but not too soft. I feel when I'm running in something that's super soft, it's like that marshmallow effect. You're just sinking into the shoe, and there's no you can't go anywhere. Just stuck. I feel like I'm just plodding, So I don't like that. I have a pair of Hoka Bondies. I thought they would be awesome for the long, slow days. They're just awful.
Those are like cinder blocks on your feet.
They are. And I was running in them, and I was like, I just can't even even my slow runs. I felt awful because I couldn't pick up my feet. It was just bad. But I
know a lot of people with Hokas. They've changed it here in the last two iterations. But I know, basically up until 2 years ago, all the Hokas gave me the worst burn ever. There was something wrong with their arches.
Yes, it wasn't necessarily in the arch for me. But the first pair of Hokas I ever got burned my feet felt like they were on fire. I ran 2 runs in them, and I took them back. Like most running shops, if the shoe is defective or if it doesn't work for you within a couple of like weeks or a couple of runs or whatever, take them back and you talk to the people and they tell them what the issue is. Fortunately, when I did that, I was still working at the shop. I think no, it wasn't. Never mind, I lied. But I know the shop really well, so I just took them back and said, "Hey, they're making my feet burn," and they send them back to the manufacturer and get a credit. So if you feel
Well, I
this
think
is
Brooks has a 90-day run
it might
policy.
be, but if
Yeah.
you like again, if you take it to a running shop, they figure it out. Like they get money back for whatever they send back to the manufacturer. So like the Clifton for me from Hoka works really well. It's just a pretty boring everyday shoe that I can put on and I know that it's going to work and I don't have to worry about it.
Feels a little
Ideally,
bottom heavy, but
ideally
it's a really good shoe.
it is like a shoe that you don't notice is one of those shoes that you want to wear, right? You shouldn't notice the shoe. It should work with your gait and it should feel and fit well enough that you don't notice it at all. So, like right now, I'm rocking a pair of Cliftons. I've got a pair of Ghosts. I've got a pair of Vomeros.
A pair of Cliftons like this, Jeremy?
Maybe not that color though. I've got a pair of 880s. I've got a pair of Glycerins. Got a pair of Pegs. That might be it.
And so, what does a shoe rotation do for you?
So if you rotate your shoes, the shoes aren't going to work with your foot exactly the same as the next pair of shoes. So it kind of helps your muscles not get over fatigued if you're doing a whole bunch of running. That's what I find anyway. I like the pair of shoes I'm wearing right now that are the least problematic for my Achilles are the 880s from New Balance. I find that I can run in those in my Achilles. Still, I noticed it, but not as much. So that's kind of what I'm running. And what are you running in, Brad? What about your shoes? What do you like?
Well, I'll chime back in on like part of a shoe rotation is because even if you stay like with all Nike, all New Balance, whatever it is, if you change, like whether it's like a high stack versus a low stack shoe,
What does
your
that mean, Brad?
how much foam is under your foot?
So a stack, but you're talking about stack height, right? So how much foam, like
Correct.
how tall the shoe is.
Right. And so your foot is acting differently in every shoe. And so, like if it has a significant drop, the heel is at, 35 millimeters, the forefoot's at 29 with a 6 millimeter drop, then versus like, say like an ultra that is 0 drop, your foot reacts differently in every single shoe. So, and it's not really good or bad how your foot reacts in that. So, but your foot then starts compensating. So, say you only train in a plated trainer or train in a plated trainer, then your foot like just starts deactivating muscles and compensating for the shoes that you're wearing on a daily basis.
So when you say a plated, again, Brad, we're talking to some people who maybe don't know everything there is to know about running. What's a plated trainer?
I'll show you my favorite plated trainer right now, Jeremy. The popular Super Trainer series. My favorite right now is this New Balance Super Comp Trainer.
Oh, is it super?
Oh, it's pretty sweet, dude.
Like, I think that comes in a wide, right?
It does, yeah. I don't think you like it. It's super. I like super soft shoes.
Oh yeah, so I wouldn't like it. But if it's plated, how soft can it be?
I don't think the plate is just. I don't even think that for your running style. I know I've seen some studies that like plated racers, so super racers, like super shoes, including trainers, that the plated shoes don't help elite runners as much as they do like average runners.
So you're saying I'm elite?
I think your foot strike, if you just look from a foot strike perspective, like how much more efficient can you make your foot strike? And that's what a plate is doing for you, is making you, it's like a cheap way to improve your efficiency of foot strike.
Right, but it also gives you more spring. Look, I have a pair
but that's the foam. That's not the.
Is it the foam? See, then I don't have to have a super shoe.
Yeah, but you need then like super foam.
Right, but there's plenty of super foam.
I don't need a typically super shoe. Wides.
Look, Brad, I have a pair of Adidas Bostons that are awful. But I
Mm-hmm.
do notice when I was starting to get back fitness last year, this seems to be kind of like a
A
trend
theme.
here. Yeah. That when I was running in those shoes, running at like 8:30 pace felt a lot easier. I don't know if it's true, but it felt easier. I don't know if it's a mental thing than when I was running in my other shoes. Right. So I could go out and run 8:30 pace for 7 miles in those shoes without much concern. And then I would switch over and I was like, man, like this 8:30 pace feels a lot harder. I think there's something to it
Well, there
for
is
sure.
something to it. Look at even if it is just like a mental component to it, that mental piece, that placebo effect has a significant impact as evidenced by where our trainings are. I have 5 bad days of training and 2 good, and I think I'm on the rocket ship to the Olympics here. And you've got 2 bad weeks that like that you're in the middle of, and you think that the bottom's falling out. So,
Right.
like struggling through, I don't care really what your paces are. So, but there's something to be said for going out feeling good, running faster than you were expecting, and saying, that was exactly what I needed right now.
Yeah, faster than you're expecting, and it felt easy or easy-ish, right?
Yeah.
Like that's always a good run. When you're done, you're like, man, yeah, I was moving and it was easy. Like those are the best
Jamming.
days. Yeah,
Jamming.
you get that what they call the runner's high. I've had it a couple times. I don't have it often, but yeah, that runner's high, it's a real thing, man. When
Yep.
everything's just working together.
So I guess we're talking about me and my shoes now.
Yeah, I don't have look. I'm boring. I don't have super shoes. I don't have plated shoes outside of the Boston. It's not even plated. It's like rotted, right? Um, and they're all wides, and they're all mostly black. I do have a couple of white pairs of shoes.
Well, I would say look at like the super comp trainer.
I'm gonna,
New Balance does wides, and I already think this is like a super. There's a ton of volume on this shoe
yeah.
versus like Nikes really don't have any volume whatsoever.
I don't know. I find the peg works okay in a 2E for me. I don't know. I felt the 4E was actually too blousy on around my foot. I felt like that my foot just moved around too much.
Maybe your
And I
foot
don't.
lost weight.
Maybe no. It just didn't fit well. That was it. Like fit's important.
No. These
Kira.
people have zero consideration for what's happening here. Get the
Hey,
hell
is that
out
your
of
kid?
here.
Is that Louie?
Look, he's like a full-grown cat at a few months
Dude,
old
that cat
here.
is bigger than my big cat. My
Cat
big
is
cat is
ridiculous.
giant. He's so fat, my big cat is now.
Good.
He just eats because he eats the kitten's
Get
food
out of here. Gee
and his
whiz.
own food.
What? Good. Get the hell out of here. Good night.
Dude, our kids are wonderful.
This is our full-time job here, and they're just treating it like we're doing nothing.
It's like we don't do anything else.
Right.
Like,
It's like as rude can be.
Jesus.
Get out of here. Get out of
Kira.
here. They're absolute nuisances.
I mean, that's what kids are. I thought kid meant nuisance in Spanish.
Jeez. So I have the widest array of a shoe rotation as you could possibly have.
I'm sure you. I forgot a couple pairs of shoes, but those are lightweight trainers, and they're not the traditional like trainers.
Yeah. So I looked. I have 13 pairs of racers. So that's all
Racing
like
shoes?
just racers.
What the hell, Brad?
So like alpha flies, vapor flies, like the meta sky. Anyways, this has nothing to do with racers. This is just part of my daily running shoe rotation. So
Jesus.
my hot buttons right now, number 1, first and foremost, easy, is the Asics Super Blast non-plated shoe. This has been my favorite daily trainer in a long time.
Oh yeah.
So it's
Does it come in a
soft.
2E?
I don't think so.
Son of a bitch.
It's got like the a really nice foam that feels really good underfoot. It's like one of these shoes that kind of, from the upper that it has to, I think the traction is pretty trash, candidly. But from the upper to the way it fits to the ride, the rocker, what like the way that it kind of moves you into your toe and through your stride. It's been the best shoe that I've had that isn't plated in a long time. So I feel
Um,
like it's kind of a do-it-all shoe. You can do long runs in it, come back feeling fresh. You can do easy runs in it. Like some shoes don't feel good at a slow pace or at a fast pace. This one I think feels good on every end of the spectrum.
so describe your running gait. Like we described mine as more mid to 4 foot.
Yeah,
Yours is
it's changed over the years. I used to pronate through college, and then I pronated all the way through until probably 4 or 5 years ago, where I spent a full year for every single slow run. I just focus on changing my form. And I think a lot of people's pronation is just like, it's a foot weakness imbalance and like lower leg imbalance where like your foot just doesn't know how to support itself. So, and some people just have like natural deficiencies, whether it's like weak arches or whatever. I was pronating, so rolling my foot inside with what would be considered normal arches. And so if you have me like just go and walk, I walk. I've always walked in a neutral gait. So, but at any time that I used to run until say 5 years ago, I pronated while I ran.
but let's
So
not like so pronation isn't bad.
it's
Doing it
not
too
like
much.
it's
Doing it too much is
correct.
where you start to get into that. Pronation is just like your ankles rolling inward. It helps you,
Right.
it helps you kind of absorb some of the shock that your body's going through as you every
So in
step.
a lot of people with pronation, you just see it when they stand there. So
Yeah,
like when they stand and kind of settle down, their foot just naturally, you can see it from the ankle, moves inside.
yeah, yeah.
So like I've never had that problem, so it wasn't like an ankle mobility issue or anything else, but I was a pretty significant heel striker even in college. Uh and I think you're probably more prone. I'd be interested to see the science on it. I'm guessing that you're more prone to pronation. That's kind of a little riddle there.
There
I
it
think
is.
you're more susceptible to pronating if your foot strike starts at the heel.
I mean, ultimately, it kind of like if you are a midfoot striker or a 4 foot striker, like you've taken out that whole pronation piece anyway because you're hitting
Correct.
up
Right.
here. So then
That's right.
you're gonna roll off of your big toe, but
You
that's not
naturally
pronation,
have a direction that your foot moves no matter what. Like that's an
right?
important part of how your foot is structured to move.
Yeah. So if
So
you're a heel
so
striker, you're gonna be like definitely more of a chance. I don't know that I recall anybody who is a midfoot or 4 foot striker
r-
having to deal with that.
right. So I'm now 90% of the time a midfoot striker. But I think it's probably good for anybody. At some point, your form breaks down. Like you can probably find an odd anomaly that doesn't fit this narrative. But in the grand scheme of things, when you start getting tired, like your foot strike inevitably at some point is going to go to shit. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to be super efficient when you're super tired because it's
Yeah.
all muscular based.
Unless you've seen my calf muscles, and then you know that I'm not that person.
So I've been rocking that Super Blast as like my absolute favorite shoe. Wore them this morning. They're still soaking wet from rain and sweat. And then I've been running a lot in all of my shoes are just neutral trainers. The Glycerin 20.
Okay, I've got a pair of Glycerin 19s, I think.
So they changed to the DNA Loft V3 in this.
V3.
It's Brooks are always just like the most generic ride in the world.
Yeah, but they work. Like that's
Yeah.
why they're one of the best selling shoes on the market. Like the brand is.
Yeah, but like just from a general sense, if somebody says I want to start running, like you can pretty much never steer them wrong in saying start with Brooks.
That's right.
So, and that doesn't matter if you're a high school runner, like an elite level runner, or just somebody getting into running. Brooks probably has like the best array of shoes that fit like the widest spectrum ever.
Yeah, I mean they even make the stability control shoes, which are designed for those people who have a very low flat arch that's severely overpronate to help accommodate for that. And you don't see that
Yep.
too often in a lot of shoes. So
So I've
Brooks
been
makes
running in that some. I've been running this has been my go-to for a number of years since it came out, the Saucony Endorphin Speed. So it's
yeah.
not a carbon plated trainer, but it's got a super foam. Kind of like I would call that a do-it-all shoe. Love the Cliftons for easy days when
Mhm.
you're not concerned about paces.
Even when you are, the Clifton works, guys. You don't have to have a super shoe to run fast. That's why I'm trying to ask Bradford for 30 seconds a mile because his shoes do give him about that much.
Nope. So the New Balance Super Comps have been amazing. This Hoka Mach X has been pretty sweet. I try not to pull out the plated trainers that often. So I usually use them when I'm like kind of down in a rut and just say, I really like plated trainers for long runs. So there's
Yeah.
just something about like
Do
having a
do
really good
you?
long run where you feel recovered at the end of it. Your legs don't feel trash the next day. You get the benefit of of a plated trainer, and you like. There's nothing better than surprising yourself on a
Yeah.
long run. It's like the ultimate boost of morale
No.
for. No,
Well, sure. No, I no. Now, what I'm you're breaking up. So what I'm saying is like that doesn't. There's no not good thing about that. What I'm saying is like plated trainers, the super shoes, they do have that impact where they make your legs less fatigued the farther you like quickly, right? I mean, eventually
yep.
you're going to get fatigued regardless of how far you go. So, like, they do serve a significant impact. That's why I'm going to ask you to wear a pair of Cliftons for our marathon, and I'm going to wear a pair of Cliftons for our marathon. That way, it's even Steven. You know, done.
We'll see. I still think that
What
you
do you
owe
mean?
me
Well, Steven,
time, given we're in different age groups.
Brad, but you look, 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 look. I'm,
Yeah, I'm looking.
I'm telling you,
I'm
if
looking
you
in
wear
our
first,
auditory experience.
you're already fitness level. I already asked for like I'll gladly take 10 seconds per number now per
We
mile.
have nope,
And then you're going to wear super shoes that at least adds 20 seconds in the marathon per mile.
nope. I've been running in the cloud on Monster some.
Do you like the clouds, the ons? I know when they first came out, you were not a big fan.
They felt flat after 2 runs. They were the worst shoe ever.
And are they better now?
They have gotten significantly better. This is a decent shoe. I
I
think
think
it's
it's like
more of a
oh,
like if you wear Lululemon stance socks and hit up Orange Theory, this is your
that
jam.
that's you outside of the stance socks. You're the Lululemon and Orange Theory guy. I'm the stance socks guy.
I'm a big Ultra Touring fan, zero
Yeah.
drop with a wide foot box. So I love these for easy days and just making sure that I'm not getting carried away with plated trainers.
I'm so envious of you and your average sized foot.
I know it's I mean, I'm great in a lot of ways, and this is just another. The
Yeah.
streak fly, awesome.
Yeah.
It's like a
Why?
5K, 10K shoe. So super soft. You know what
I
this
thought you said you
reminds
were
me
only going
of?
to trail running. I mean, traditional training shoes. Is that a traditional training shoe?
No
Or is that
plate.
more race station now?
It's a race day shoe. I don't think that it needs to be utilized that way. I love this for traveling because it's a small shoe, but you always feel fast in it. It's super foam. They say it's a 5K, 10K racer shoe. It reminds me exactly of what trainers used to be like when we were in college. Like
With the
it's like kind of like no
Supernova.
frills. Yeah,
Yep.
no frills, like you're lower to the ground. You have a really good sense of everything that's going on. I don't know. There's just something comforting about the feeling of these. I really like them.
Look, that's the way I feel about a Pegasus. I can't go wrong. Like whatever it is, the peg works for me, and that's the like no frills. Like you get what you get, and you know exactly what you're getting every time. It's
Yeah.
good.
And then I wore these quite a bit in Hawaii. I wear them quite a bit while I get a new pair as often as I need them. But I always get this as my trail shoe, the Speed Goat by Hoka.
They make a wide.
Boom.
So when we get ready to start doing some serious trail mileage.
So, but I always get trail shoes just because they're trail shoes. And I don't really think that you need trail shoes unless you're
I don't
doing
know.
like
Like,
some
look,
serious adventure.
we've talked about it. Maybe an adventure race, perhaps.
I get it, but you look at it like even the most of the biggest ultra marathons, unless you're doing UTMB, even if you're doing Western States, most of the guys are wearing like road shoes.
That's because they're only out there for 3.5 hours, and they're so light. We're
And
not
the
we're not 120 pounds, Brad. We're gonna need the extra traction that the big lugs
trails
provide.
trail shoes really help, like say if you're running like bouldering over in Phoenix or something,
Yes,
which
Brad. We need to.
neither of us have access to.
No, what we need to do is we need to take 3 months in preparation for what we're gonna do for our ultra, and go to Flagstaff.
Could
Just
be.
saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's leave our families at home alone.
For 3 months.
We're going pro.
Yeah. Sorry,
So,
honey.
and lastly, the last shoe that I've been running in that the jury is still out on, some days I love them, sometimes I think they're just trash, is the Topo Spectre.
Huh. I have a friend who's a big fan of Topo.
So, like super wide toe box, like super tons of volume in the shoe. It has a drop, which 5mm drop. So it's like, I think they're minimalist drop shoes. I don't know, not sold, but I still running them just to change it up. So
Yeah.
like my daily shoe, like what I consistently wear daily, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. And I just got rid of a pair of shoes, the Nike Invincibles, while I was in Hawaii. I got rid of those, and I have an entire trash bag of about 15 running shoes that I just retired. So some of them really didn't have many miles on them, but I just said, I'm not wearing these. Like, this is my rotation. These said 12 are my rotation.
So that's a lot of shoes. Like, I don't think people out there listening, you don't need to have 12 pairs of shoes or 15 pairs of shoes or even however many I had. I have like 10, right? You don't need to have that many pairs of shoes to go out and run. Like, ideally, having two, like, if you can only get one, but having two to rotate day and, every other day or whatever, or depending on where you're running, that's fine. And
Well,
it also, like, if you, like you said, your one pair of shoes is nasty and sweaty and gross, not having to put those back on the next day when they're still nasty and sweaty and gross is like, there's a lot to be said for that. So,
I would say if you're building a shoe rotation, start with just a shoe that fits, that you've been fitted for, and is like basically like this Brooks Glycerin. Like,
yeah,
get the most generic runner that you can. Like, you can run trails in this. You can run easy runs, long runs, races. You can literally do every single run that you would ever want to do in this.
that's
And then if
right.
you want to build off of this, then you kind of build off of this. So it's like building, like if you had enough money for like cars. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you collected cars, you would start with, say, a Honda Accord, like your daily driver that you throw the family in. And your next car would be your sports car that you say, I'm only taking the convertible out for the weekends.
Like your Corvette, right?
Well, not my Corvette, sure. So And so I would say then the next shoe would be something that like next shoe of a rotation, I would say it would be like a plated super trainer that you can race in and train in. That it's
Yeah.
not as aggressive as a actual like super shoe. So it doesn't have a full length carbon plate, but it has like some carbon type plate, whether it's P-backs or whatever it is, with
Yeah.
a super foam that you can take out for your long runs and your fast days.
Yeah.
And then like the icing on the cake, the one is like once you can afford the Ferrari and you go out and get your ultimate dream car, is like once the last shoe of the rotation would be a racer.
Yeah. For sure. I think that's reasonable. And I think once you get into it, like you're gonna find what works and what doesn't, and you're gonna want to have like 3 pairs of the same shoes that are your favorites, and you're gonna go get those. And like running is one of those sports, like anything, it becomes an addiction. Like going out, like, oh, do I need that other pair of shoes? Well, no, because I've already got 10 in the closet, but I kind of want them, so I'm gonna get them. Right? It could
Well,
be
there's
running could be as expensive as you want to make it, or as inexpensive as you want to make it, and like it's up to you to figure out that for yourself. But
well, when I was running today with Ken, he brought this up, so shout out Ken. Sometimes just buying a new pair of running shoes is super motivating.
oh, for sure.
So especially if it's even if they're just like a clean pair of shoes that you already have, you're like, man.
Can I tell you something? I hate
Hold
running.
on, let me think about it. Can you tell me something?
I'm just gonna tell you anyway. I hate running in brand new shoes. I need to get them dirty, so I always try to go out and scuff them up on like the
How
first
dare
time and
you?
stuff. Because I don't
How
want people to
dare
think
you?
I'm already running slow enough now that people think I'm not well versed in all things running. I don't want them to think I'm a complete noob with brand new clothes on and a brand new pair of shoes, and this is my first day. So I go out and try to get them dirtied up the first run. I'm not
Looks
always
like
successful.
somebody's out on their first run for their weight loss journey.
You know what? I don't know why I feel that way, but I always do. Like I've got shoes that I want to keep clean, not my running shoes. My running shoes need to be
What?
dirty. Yeah, my running shoes need to be dirty,
Shame
man.
on you. I am the exact opposite.
I would rather bust out into a race with a pair of shoes that look like they've been through 1,004 miles than to have something brand new on.
Oh
I'll
my
rock out
god.
some
That
really new
is
apparel. I'll put on new apparel, but my shoes have to look at least reasonably worn.
I feel I'm the complete opposite. So, but I will say, it's funny because look, like say cycling is the ultimate. Like people think that you can buy your way to being a good cyclist.
You
So
can't?
no. It's always the worst cyclist in a group ride that has the most expensive bike, the racing kit that just came off of the latest Tour de France, the
Yeah.
best cycling shoes that are custom fitted, and the best riders are the guys that are just out there grinding on their bike for 10 years straight.
Yeah, I worked at a bike shop too last year and the year before that, and I had a guy who I worked with who he was okay at biking. He wasn't great, but he was that guy who as soon as something came out, he was on top of it. And
Upgrading.
he was just like that guy. And like he was pretty new to it. He was only biking for like a year. So like if he's getting into one of these groups where these guys are like hammering like the A plus plus guys, like he was getting left to the dust, and he has his $10,000 bike, and he's got everything on it, and he's just like looking like a fool out there as these guys are just crushing. So yeah,
Yeah, but I think the barrier to entry there is so expensive. Like a really good
oh
bike can be easily in excess of $10,000.
yeah,
So whereas like like the top end running shoe right now, I think the most expensive, like there's a couple of Speedland trail shoes that are in excess of $300, but the normal shoe, the most expensive one right now is the uh, it's whatever their like high end marathon racing shoe is.
yeah.
It's $280. So like the Vaporflies, I think are 250 or two. I think they're 250 for the Alpha Fly.
No,
Vapor
I thought there were some that were like 270 too.
maybe, but
They're all up there.
280 is kind of the upper range, which is significantly different than $10,000.
Or even $3,000 for like what you would consider now like a beginner's bike. Like
Yeah,
that's still a
yeah,
very big chunk of change for many people. Like you don't go out and just shell out $3,000 without like having
yeah.
to
But
consider it.
conversely, all of these things, we're doing this because it's fun.
Yeah,
And because you want to have fun out there, I like
absolutely.
seeing, I like having a new pair of shoes on, look just glistening, glistening. This is my first day running in these ever.
Look, I love a new pair of shoes just as much as you do, but I don't want them to look new. Like manufacturers out there, give us some distressed shoes. Put a couple stains on. I
Vintage.
don't care. Yeah, but I don't care. I want it to look like I've done something. But like you're right, it doesn't even have to be shoes. Like I don't mind getting like a new jersey, a new singlet or something, just to go and get myself out of my little slump and say I'm going to go put my new clothes on and go for a nice little run. So yeah, anything to treat yourself.
Treat yourself, Jeremy. I'm going to
Treat
treat
yourself,
myself to
Bradford.
some shut-eye here.
That's what I'm going to do too. It's late.
All right, bud.
All right, dude. Bro, I'll see you next time.
Bro.
Bro.
Bro. I'm signing off with your typical MO here, bud. Love you.
Hey, man. I love you too.
Always good to see you, man.
Always.
I'll talk to you next week. Hope your Achilles gets better.
Well, it's a killing me.
Oh my God. Briggity Bro Bob out.
Out.